an entrepreneur and you're highly creative, you got all kinds of expertise, one of the last things you tend to think about is the legal side, protecting your assets, making sure that your taxes are protected and that you're making enough money and not giving it all to the government, right? So today I'm bringing on a really great advisor for all of us. And he's going to tell us a little bit about what we need to watch out for and what are some things we can do so that our business is protected and we don't have to worry about that crazy legal side of the business. Hey, I'm always a big believer in protecting yourself up front, creating the right systems and structures so that your business can run seamlessly. I'm Melanie Benson, and if we haven't met before, you are here for the Small Business Optimizer podcast. And this is a weekly series where every week I'm bringing you insider information, game-changing strategies that will help you make your business perform better and give you more time to enjoy what you love doing most. And today I have a guest who is somebody that we all need to have on our Rolodex or in our iPhone. You know, got to be able to have a call into this guy to prepare our business for anything that could come our way. This is Mark Kohler, and Mark is an attorney, a CPA, and a national speaker, radio show host, and best-selling author. And his newest book was released just this year and is called The Tax and Legal Playbook. And it was published by Entrepreneur, which is a great publishing house targeting all of us who are out there making our own way in business. So, Mark, so glad we got to connect today. And I'm really excited to dig in and learn a lot about what you have to share with entrepreneurs.
Well, thanks so much. It's quite intimidating with the video broadcast rather than a podcast or radio show. So everybody, I have not put on an extra 10 pounds. It's just the camera.
Yeah, you can't hide on video, can you? But you know what's really cool is I just feel like it, in audio, even though there's great information coming our way, I feel like when people get to see our face, they know we're real, and it just creates a less of a layer of a barrier. So I'm enjoying the video side of things. So thanks for playing along today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
So, okay, taxes, legal stuff, there's so much out there that we need to be thinking about as business owners and entrepreneurs. First of all, I'm really curious, how did you get into this line of work? What's your story?
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur. I was the kid with the lemonade stand and just love small business. And so I went to school in the business department. I really felt accounting is the language of business. If you don't understand your numbers and how much money you're making and where it's all going, you're going to be in problems. And I found that I had a little bit of a flair or personality in small business. And I thought, where can I stand out? So I chose accounting, and I love numbers. And so went into accounting, and then had a great tax law professor and said, I'm going to go on to law school and be a tax lawyer. And a lot of tax lawyers get sucked into the huge conglomerate, large, big city law firm accounting firms and charge $750 an hour or more. But I've always wanted to help the small business owner. And so when I got out of school, I found some great partners, and we've been helping small business owners for almost 15 years now, and pricing ourselves so that the average small business owner can get big city services. And it's just, it's really exciting.
So you kind of followed your passion, followed what you were good at, and it led you to a place that you get to do what you love, and probably doesn't feel a lot like work except for when you're in tax season, right?
Well, yeah, and I live in Southern California, so more of a passion would be surfing, and so
okay.
I've got to do this so I can go surf at night.
You just couldn't figure out how to monetize passion, right? Or the passion for surfing, yeah. Like, I wasn't going to make the tour, so I had to come up with a plan.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. I love these juicy little tidbits we get to learn about everybody. So, all right. Well, first of all, I have to say that I had a tax accountant way before I met you save me a boatload on a stupid mistake that I didn't know any better. And I am absolutely one of those entrepreneurs that didn't understand numbers. As a matter of fact, I almost failed my accounting class in college. So, we need you to help us stay the course and make sure the decisions we're making are good decisions, but also to look for the landmines and the pitfalls that we don't think about or we don't even know exist. What are some of the key things as entrepreneurs, especially if we're like in the content side or on the expert information sharing side? What are some things we need to be watchful for and that we should be using you for to protect ourselves?
Well, if you're in information marketing and internet marketing and out there, making money on the web, whether it's with eBay, Amazon, your own site, converting, you're doing your internet funnels, love it, love all that stuff. We got a lot of clients in that arena. You're going to be facing ordinary income. And a lot of people think, oh, I'll just form my LLC in Nevada and I'm done. And they just think and then at the end of the year, something magical is going to happen. I'm going to save taxes. That's far from the truth. It takes some proactive planning and you can save thousands of dollars. And so the average, again, small business owner just making over 50 grand a year, if you're going to be doing information marketing, you're going to have a self-employment tax problem. And it's going to blindside you and it's going to cost you an extra 15%. Then you throw Fed and you throw state on there. Folks, you could be pushing out 50 to 60% of your income in taxes very, very quickly if you don't watch out. And so one of my first tips is get some advice from a professional on if the S corporation is a good fit for you. The S corporation can save you thousands and thousands of dollars. And again, there's a lot of scams out there and misinformation about setting up in Nevada or Delaware, and I can save here, save there. I've been helping a lot of people stay out of those pitfalls for a long time.
Yeah, that's good to know. And by the way, spending a few $100s now to get the right advice can save you thousands of dollars down the road, can help you with your tax situation. I've been in this corporation for a really long time and it was a great decision, but you got to know what's right for you. So don't guess, don't just do Google research, make sure you've got someone who can take a look at your situation. Okay. So getting the right status for your business and making sure that you're set up properly. Anything else that we should be looking at or turning to you to get set up properly as we're getting our business up and running?
Well, there's so much. I don't know where to start. Anything
Let's
else?
do the top 3 things that people miss, and then if they miss them, it just could be such a costly mistake.
Okay, during the setup process. Okay, 3 tips during setup. Well, first of all, that first one is choosing the right tax status. The S corporation is the primary choice. Be careful of anyone trying to sell you on a C corp. Be careful of anyone trying to set you up in Nevada or Delaware or Wyoming if that's not where you live. It's going to cost you extra money and generally not save you anything.
Good to know.
The second tip is once you have the S corporation, and Melanie, I know you're dealing with this fall. This is very, very important this time of year, is establishing the right amount of payroll. And I've created what's called the Kohler payroll matrix, and it's looking at what type of income you have and how much should your payroll be. A lot of accountants are terribly conservative, not strategic whatsoever. They will insult you and treat you like a child and tell you this is the way it is, when it's really their opinion, not maybe the best strategy. So be cautious. An example would be taking about a 1/3 to 2/3 salary split. If you're making about 100 grand a year, I want to see your salary around 36 grand. That's just an average, and that's just based on $100,000 net income. The more money you make, the less your payroll can be as a percentage of your net. So you really want to hone that in this time of year, is not only choosing the right entity, but choosing your right payroll level right off the bat.
Okay,
now, I've got to get
so I got another point, but I'm going to take you back to that payroll conversation in a minute. So let's hear your next point before I do that.
So third point is, remember also that passive income is treated much differently. So if you're creating ordinary income in information marketing, that's where the S Corp comes into play. But if you own rental properties or if you have partnerships, an LLC can be a perfect fit and the S Corp can be a disaster. So you want to make sure you're analyzing, do I have partners? What type of income is it? And the LLC or limited liability company is there to protect assets and can be the perfect entity, again, when you're creating passive income from the holding of assets. So there are 2 different types of income. And so I guess 1, 2, 3, look at the S Corp, make sure your payroll's right, and then should I use an LLC or not based on the type of income. So there's just 3 quickies.
I love them. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're in setup or you are an established business, you really need to make sure you have your ducks in a row, because a lot of people might start a business and just kind of keep it under their personal taxes and not separate it out at first. So is there a point when your business is starting to take off at a certain level that you should make sure you've made that decision about your tax status?
Well, I think this goes back, you can almost blend my first and second point.
Okay.
All of the S Corp payroll stuff, and really the triggering level of income is around $40,000. If you're going to net $3,000 a month or more, now net, so you might be grossing 5 or 6 and then writing off 2 or 3. But if you're going to net $3 grand a month or more, you're a perfect candidate for an S corporation where the savings is going to outweigh the cost of setup. And so if we kind of blend, okay, Melanie, I'm going to retract a little bit on my 3 tips. Number 1 is that S corp and payroll thing. Number 2, use the LLC for passive. Number 3, I just want to say this real quick, Melanie, and I know you want to go back to payroll, but number 3, make sure you set up the entity properly. Make sure you get articles, bylaws, minutes, corporate book, stock certificates. We literally have a full-time paralegal just cleaning up LegalZoom entities for people. Because all they do is get 1 sheet of paper and go, okay, I'm done. I have my LLC, 1 sheet of paper. That's not an entity. Go to court with that. Good luck. Yeah. So when you're talking about mistakes at the setup level, that would be a third good one, is making sure that you set it up properly.
I love that you brought that up. So now I want to go back to payroll, because this is an interesting discussion point for a lot of business owners that I've had with them, where they say, oh, I don't do payroll. I just take a draw when I need it, right? And, I guess there's some cases where that can be okay. But what's your advice for somebody who's been just taking a draw, or maybe not even taking any money out of their business, and they just keep putting it back into the business all the time?
Ooh, well, this is a very technical answer. And
I know, there might be a lot of ins and outs.
No, I love it. This is good. First of all, you're both right. You're right, and your people that you've been hearing are correct. You should take a draw whenever you want money. That's how it works. When you have an S corp, just take money. You don't have to wait for a paycheck. I don't want you to take a paycheck. But what I want you to do is quarterly payroll reports. Okay. So as you're taking a draw, some people get stuck in this, I got to do ADP and take a check every 2 weeks. Well, your cash flow may not allow for that. So don't stress about it. Don't worry about taking a paycheck. Just make sure that you're doing a quarterly payroll. We call it after the fact payroll. So you'll do a draw anytime you want and then take that payroll quarterly. Now, the technical point you bring up is, well, Mark, say I don't take any draws at all. And the first year, I'm just putting all my money back into my business. Technically, in an S corporation, if you're not taking draws, you're not required to take a payroll. Now, if you are taking draws, you better take a payroll or you're going to get audited. It is a huge audit risk not to take a payroll report. So you don't worry about the paycheck. Think of it as payroll reports.
Yeah, and by the way, that's what got me messed up. I unfortunately had a bookkeeper at one time who did not file my payroll reports properly, and I ended up with like thousands and thousands of dollars of fines, and I didn't even know it. So those payroll reports are really critical. And again, this goes back to having a trusted team. If you guys follow my work, I'm huge on getting the right team, having the right accountant, right attorneys, right support team for all your different pieces and parts. Because if you don't, it could cost you a lot in the end. So lesson learned on my behalf, and great advice from Mark. So Mark, there's so many different ways we could go, but I'm actually really, really curious about the business of supporting other people. Let's go behind the scenes for you for a minute, right? Because, you have a big impact on the clients you serve. You're helping them make more money. You're protecting the money they have, maybe even helping them get out of some sticky situations here and there. Let's talk about, for you as the business owner, as the lead guy in the business, what is really critical for you so that you can be the best business owner out, in your field? Or let me say that better. What's really critical for you so that you can do your job in the best way possible?
Well, you bet. I have been a firm advocate of having a good strategic plan. Now, when I write my book titled What Your CPA Isn't Telling You, it's my second book in my series, I bring out 3 key plans that every small business owner should have. They should have their business plan at the outset. Am I going to start this business or not? But once your business is off the ground, the business plan goes in the drawer or the garbage. Keep it for remembrance. But then on a day-to-day basis, I carry around with me everywhere I go a strategic plan and my marketing plan. 2 very different plans. The strategic plan the marketing plan is obviously focused on sales. The strategic plan is that day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, including my year's goals. What am I going to do to take my business to the next level? I talk about systemization, having employees, making sure they know what their duties and responsibilities are, compensation and motivating employees through rewards. The strategic plan should involve a lot, and it's going to be there to help you take your business to the next level. And that's what I use. I carry with me everywhere I go my little strategic plan. When I meet with my partners, we have company meetings and staff meetings. I take my strategic plan into every meeting. We make goals for the week, the month, the year, and I write it down. And that is the strategic plan that helps me succeed. If I didn't have that plan and carry it around with me, I'd probably let a lot more clients down, and I don't want that.
I'm glad you brought up planning, because I don't know about you, but I would say at least 80% of the people that show up for me to coach them have no plan. It's in their head, but it's not documented, and they're not leveraging something that allows them to kind of go back to, here's where we're supposed to be. Do you find the same thing with your client base, or do you think the people that you're working with are better at getting business plans in place or strategic plans in place?
Yeah. No. I think all of us can improve in this area because a business comes at you. Life comes at you, and when you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing so many hats, you're juggling, spinning so many plates, and so it's really, really important to have that plan and review it on a regular basis. It provides you an anchor in the storm of owning a small business. And just this week in my weekly newsletter, I talked about chunking and just taking little bits and bite-sized bites at your plan. A lot of people get overwhelmed, but if you have a plan written down, you can start a plate spinning it and then just move on to the next one, get it going, systemize, and you can feel like you're in control of your business rather than your business controlling you.
Yeah, I call it the multiple train syndrome. You get all these things trying to take you in different directions, but if you figure out how to get one train and get somebody else to drive that train, or you systemize or automate that train, then you can get on the next train without feeling like it's going to go sideways. Something's going to get left behind. Yeah, I like it. I knew there was a reason why we had some synergy here. We're definitely on the same page with that.
Well, thank you.
If you're a small business owner working way too much in your business, then you're not really putting your business to work for you. And you could benefit greatly by learning how to develop a team of world-class players to help you accomplish more and literally free you up to get more done. Now, we all want to shatter our income goals. We all want to be able to accomplish much greater results. But it's really difficult to do if you don't know how to delegate masterfully and be able to get the right things off your plate to the right people who will really get things done. That's where the power of the virtual team comes in. Be sure to get your copy right now at virtualteamebook.com. So I feel like you've been in business for a while, right?
Yes, we've had the law firm for about 15 years, the accounting firm for 10.
Okay.
And just I've been doing a radio show every week for 8 years, a newsletter for 8 or 10 years every week, and YouTube videos every week. Yeah.
I'm hearing something that is really key as part of your marketing plan. We didn't get into the marketing plan, but I'm hearing consistency. Doing something well over and over and over again, and not giving up because you're distracted, you're bored, or there's a bright shiny object that came your way, but keeping consistency of your main marketing activity.
Oh, absolutely. And a marketing plan is about building that top of mind awareness, TOMA, with your clients and the target market you're going after. So keeping them posted as to, in my world, it's you want a newsletter every week. What are my important tax deadlines this month? What's the tip to save taxes this month? We're coming up on year-end tax planning right now. Yeah. We're right around the corner from Obamacare. I mean, I've got a laundry list of things we need to be doing right now to save taxes, because you can't call me in 2016 to do it. Yes. Well, in my business, my clients are starving for that information. They're like, Mark, I want a free newsletter every week on Tuesday morning. It's sitting in my inbox, and I know it's there. And I've been doing that for 10 years. So people can rely on that consistency. And when they think accounting, they think Mark Kohler. And so for all of you out there listening today or watching on this podcast, I encourage you to do the same. What is your niche? Who's your target market? And when they think of your product or your service, are they thinking of you? And consistency, I love your comment, Melanie, that it's all about keeping in front of them on a regular basis to the point where top of mind awareness puts your name at the top of their mind every time they think of your product.
Yeah, so I got to ask you, do you personally do that easing, or do you have someone else that helps you, or does somebody do it completely for you?
That's a great question, because I can tell out there when accountants use these canned newsletters where they just slap their logo on it. So my wife regrettably will admit, she hates it too, every Monday night about 9 p.m., and this is after a long Monday. I don't know why I started this 10 years ago. But every Monday night at 9 p.m., I go into the den and I sit down for 3 hours and I design literally by myself, no one else helps, my newsletter. Now, my partners and my lawyers and accountants in my office will contribute articles. I write a blog every week. I take my YouTube video and stick it in there. I write a weekly message to my people, and then I hit send at midnight. So Tuesday morning at 12:01, boom, you get your newsletter from an accountant you can understand.
Yeah.
So not foreign language, So yeah, no, that's a great point. No, I write my own newsletter, my own logos, everything in there.
Right. I'm always curious where people are leveraging assets. And I am a firm believer in writing your own content, unless people really suck at writing their own content and they need somebody to help them write it better. But, there's ways you can also leverage the technology side of it and the activity itself if you're not good at staying consistent with something. Again, it's like figure out where you're good, get the things that you're not good at off your plate. Okay, Mark, I know if you've been in business 15 years, you have had to hit a landmine somewhere along the way, something that maybe you had to learn something, and it was a real turning point that allowed you to do what you do better. We all have those failure moments that turn into massive turning points. Have you had one of those?
Yeah, and it's funny that we've already kind of talked about some of the solution already, because I think it was about 8 to 9 years ago, my business, I was out of control. I mean, I felt like my business was controlling me. I felt like I was ready for a heart attack. I was stressed out constantly. And there was ups and downs with the finances, employee issues, my family, my spouse, I had kids, we're all stressed because of the business. So I took with my partner a 10-day CEO course, a 10-day course. And for me to lead my business for 10 days, I'd never done that. And I'd been in business for 8 to 9 years at that point. So this is about halfway along the point of my history here. And we did this 10-day course on learning how to be a CEO. And Melanie, mind you, by now, I'd already had a master's in business. I had a CPA. I had a law degree. I'd been consulting clients for 8 years, and I still feel like I didn't know how to run my own business. And so if some of you out there are like, well, Mark, you're my advisor. Come on, you should know yours. I felt like I was I was a fraud in some ways because I was really struggling myself, but I'm giving out all this advice. So this 10-day retreat changed my life, and I learned how to run my business. And what I walked away from that training was the strategic plan and the marketing plan, and how I walk around with those. And I hat employees, I train employees, I incentivize employees, I hold myself accountable, I have tasks and tips, I schedule myself. I let my calendar control me so that my business doesn't control me. And so I schedule everything. Anyway, I learned so much, and that's what really turned. And so that's why when I wrote my second book, I felt I had to, titled the book, What Your CPA Isn't Telling You. And I felt CPAs really need to be doing more business coaching for their customers, because where else are you going to go? Your banker, your your insurance agent, your lawyer? No, your CPA sees your numbers every year. Yeah. They should be giving you some help here. Anyway, that was my
I love that you brought that up, and I'll tell you why. I actually used to run a program called the CEO Factor, and I've since kind of integrated into my optimizing work. But there are so many entrepreneurs that run themselves into the ground because they have no idea to actually how to lead the business, and they just get stuck in the doing all the time. So it's great that you talked about that and shared that journey, because I think it's a pivot point when you change the way you see your role in the company.
Yeah, no, it's critical. And you've got to have a path, or else you'll just be like an unanchored ship, to use that example, and on the ocean.
So, Mark, I like to know what keeps entrepreneurs like you who are highly successful and have a lot going on, what keeps you inspired?
Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't expect that.
And it could be a quote or book or practice, or it could just be something that you value.
What keeps me inspired? And thank you for your compliment that I'm a highly successful entrepreneur. I don't know about that. I think a lot of us.
You are, because I said you are, right?
Yeah, there you go. Probably what keeps me inspired is on almost a daily basis, I'm lucky enough to have consultations with clients. As soon as we get off the webinar here, I've got 2 more consultations today. And it's not uncommon for me to have clients literally in tears or have emotional breakthroughs with me. And we're talking about taxes. I mean, literally. And they're like, Mark, I've given up. I use TurboTax, and I'm so frustrated. And my lawyer is a dirtbag, and I can't trust him or her. And I have nowhere to turn. And we get on the phone. I help clients all around the country. I've got a great 4 or 5 attorneys, CPAs. So there's a team of 30 or 40 of us. But when I get my personal consultations with clients and I see them have a breakthrough and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm saving money. My business is better organized. I'm protected in a lawsuit. It didn't cost me an arm and a leg. And Mark Kohler is going to be there and his team next day and the day after that to help me. That's what inspires me to just come and do it again tomorrow.
So making a difference in someone else's life. When you see that shift in them, it inspires you to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you said it so much easier than me.
That's my job. I'm the reframer.
You reframed that great. Yeah. So that's it. There you go.
I get it because it's what keeps me inspired too. It's a big part of me. So you've got a new book out, and I'm curious, what's next? What's the big next thing that Mark's shooting for in his business?
Oh, that's great. Great question. Well, right now, I do my 5 fall workshops. So I've got workshops around the country. It's my 5th annual workshop series. And so I'm really trying to just hit it out of the park, having a great turnout. Seattle, Sacramento, Philadelphia, Southern California, and Honolulu. Come to Honolulu. Nice. It's a tax write-off, Melanie. Come to Honolulu.
I'm going in October.
There you go. Yeah. So so it's actually in November 21st. So you might want to delay your trip for a month, then you get a tax write-off. But anyway,
it's all about you, right?
Yeah. So what's next for me? Really, it's just we're expanding the offices a little, and I'm working on my workshops. I don't plan on a new. I'm trying to finish up the audiobook, but no writing for a year. I need a break. Any of you that have written a book, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
I've talked to Stephanie Myers a lot. We talk about this, and it's kind of a big deal. I'm just joking. I don't talk to Stephanie Myers.
I don't know who Stephanie Myers is. I'm like, should I know Stephanie?
Yes, yeah, Eclipse and all the oh my gosh, no,
Okay, well,
vampire
connection for me. Okay.
Yeah. Vampires. What is it?
Oh, Twilight. Okay.
Twilight.
Yes. Okay.
Eclipse was their second one or whatever. Anyway.
You're hilarious.
Stunning.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so if you're gonna have a writing mentor, that's a great one to have, right?
Yeah, I try to work a vampire into every book.
Smart. So, well, isn't that called the IRS?
I like it. There you go. Gonna just suck your blood dry. I like it. Yeah, that's good. I'll use that.
Okay, good. It's yours. You can have it. Oh my gosh, you're a lot of fun, and I know that you have so much value to give to our community of business owners and entrepreneurs. How can people A, find your book, and B, get connected with you?
Well, thank you so much. Well, if you just Google Mark J. Kohler, go to Amazon, and it's a great place to find my book, my podcast on iTunes called Refresh Your Wealth. You can find it all, though, however, and all the links at markjkohler.com. So yes. Mark, M-E-R-K, J as in jolly, and then Kohler like your faucets, K-O-H-L-E-R, markjkohler.com. I'm not related to the Wisconsin company, or I'd be doing this webinar from a private jet, but I'm, So
I was going to say, we'd have a very different conversation today if you're related to them.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, hey, and also, how can people listen to your podcast?
Oh, yes, please. For those watching iTunes, just type in Refresh Your Wealth. We rebranded it this last year after it being called the Mark Kohler Show. That was creative enough, but we rebranded it the Refresh Your Wealth Show, and it's so fun. It's all about tax and legal planning. Broadcast every Thursday. It's on 15 a.m. stations around the country. You can get on iTunes. And again, if you go to my website, there's a link. But iTunes, Refresh Your Wealth.
Okay. And I love that branding, Refresh Your. I just wrote a book called Rewired for Wealth, and I got to tell you, it's like there's some catchy titles around that. So I'm going to check that out. I'm glad that we've made this connection. So, all right, guys. Well, here's the thing. You got to really think ahead. This is called the big vision. This is not just getting so caught up in what do I need to get done today, but thinking about what do I need to do today so the success I have, not just tomorrow and next week, but next year, is going to continue to scale and expand. So we've got to look at what Mark's telling us and really tap into either, do you work outside of California, by the way, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Like I was going to say,
so he's a great asset no
matter where you go. Yeah.
So for those of you in Australia, Canada, Europe, you're going to have to find someone local who can do this for you. You haven't gotten past those bridges yet, but make sure you've got a great accountant who really works with you and understands the entrepreneur setup. Okay. Big business doesn't always translate to entrepreneurship. You need somebody who's really set up to help you be able to maximize your profits, refresh your wealth, as Mark says, and be able to use your assets in the best way possible. So we'll be back again next week with another show, another great guest who has got some important things to tell us to help us make our businesses perform better. Mark, thanks so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thanks much. Thank you.